NCRP Productions presents Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands, Episode 4. Well, good evening and welcome back to Unhallowed Metropolis. This is Everett. I will be game mastering tonight, and we will go around the room and have you introduce yourselves and your characters.
My name is Jill, and I am playing Raya Patel, the Mourner.
My name is Matt. I'm playing Ayden, the Antiquarian.
Hello, I'm Ty, and I'm running Ray Callahan, the Pugilist.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm playing Dr. Everett Wolf, the doctor specializing in chemistry and alchemy.
Hi, this is Sequoia, and I'm playing Frankie, the Undertaker.
Hey everyone, it's Pedro, and I'm playing Dr. Desmond Wright.
All right, so it's always fun to follow you up because then it's all right.
Yeah.
So last week, you guys went into town to go purchase gas masks, the canvas kind that you thought would be better as far as, actually this was 2 weeks ago, as far as working in the desert. You guys are following up the death of a child. That's how the episode began, dealing with that. Moving forward from there, Ayden had stepped out with the police officers, with the ENP, going to find the antiquarian house that had the items stolen from him, and had originally thought of a plan to punish him, but off mic, off screen, off camera, however you want to say it, Matt and I discussed that's not necessarily in Ayden's nature, so instead I believe we came up with you're going to end up snubbing him by not showing up for the meet, right, which may hurt just as much. Well, it won't hurt as much as death, but as far as imagery goes, it will hurt as much as. We have Abasi and Masi, the canvas rebreather salesman. His son has a very badly cut arm. And Dr. Wright, you were going to potentially work this evening with him to try and first clean it up, the gangrene and the bad areas, and then potentially fit him for a prosthetic. Yes. That's at least what I have down for you.
Barring what happens in the next hour. Yes.
One piece that I did not remember, because it's been a little while in real world, we've missed a week. The Billings, if I remember correctly, did not go into town with you guys.
They did not go into...
They did not go into the building. They went into town.
Yeah,
they did go into the bazaar with you guys?
They were waiting outside of the building we were in.
They're waiting outside?
Yeah,
all right.
Because Mei Ling did not want to go in.
There
we
go. Well, good. I'm
us.
glad you guys remember that, because I didn't.
Yeah.
And outside the building currently, we have the two of them then, and Frankie and Ayden.
I think they just made it in.
You guys just came. You guys just came to meet with Mei Ling, if I remember right.
You guys have just arrived, and you've noticed that the lights are on a building that you've never seen the lights on outside. It is day, and again, I'll remind you that even though it's unhallowed in Egypt, there is sun. There's always sun. The sun is burning, bitingly hot. But the two of you were heading in.
That's right.
And for the rest of you, upstairs, Dr. Wright had decided to... Bless you. Had decided to step into the room. He had knocked at the door first to see if anything was moving inside.
I didn't want there to be animates.
Yep. Then you stepped inside, pushed the door back, clicked on the light, and at that point, everyone in the hallway will hear it. 15 guns are clicked and pointed at you. And this is where we begin.
And just me?
Well, no one else is there. We're in a line. The line is Dr. Wright, Raya, Wolf, Ray, Cal, and followed up in the end by Maru.
Can I ask? Okay, I do have fast aim. With 6 bullets, how many of these guys can I take out? Can I take out more than 6? What's the roll I need to take them all out?
I don't think you can Deadpool it, but from my memory, fast aim is not giving you more shots.
No, it's just giving me a better initiative. But
right.
I could take some of them out before.
If we're talking about the Deadpool scene where he's filled full of holes, he could totally do that.
Right, yeah, you could do that. That's
with
true.
Enough amphetamine, anything is possible. That's what I really need to make. I really need to make some quick injection. Good news! I just thought of something. Okay.
Just have a galvanic injection system. Just
and some green tubing. Maybe I get a mask or something.
Burn.
Don't stop there. You need to get multiple arms.
You could be everyone else's pain.
Yeah.
All right. So,
but, yeah.
Dr. Wright, you've stepped in. You have the guns aimed at you. Nothing's been said. What do you do? We're not going in rounds yet. Because everyone else behind you just heard guns moving.
No, I'm gonna say, "Oh, hello. I didn't realize anybody was home. I am terribly sorry to have trespassed."
And other than the canvas mask, you're not dressed anything strange, right? You are in your normal clothing. You have your cane.
Didn't I? Oh wait, no, that's right. I bought new clothing, but I haven't put them on yet. So so I'm in full English attire.
And you have the cane as well.
Yeah, the cane's there. I mean, the other thing is, I will say, my gun's beneath I do have a holster. And I did buy a bandolier, so I do have a bandolier on, although it's probably empty. No, I don't have it on. It's in my... No, I would have it on because I don't have anywhere to carry it. So yeah, it's just an empty bandolier, though.
All right, so...
Oh, shoot. I have an
You
empty
put your adventurer's bandolier on.
Yeah, well, where am I going to carry it? Like...
Oh, this is
all
gonna
about
end.
style.
This is gonna end worse than the pulp novels.
All right, so at this point
bad.
then, my question to you is, what is...
My initiative?
No, what is your charm?
Ooh, okay.
Oh, no.
I don't think that's really good. 3.
That is a 3.
So you want me to roll?
All right.
Terrible.
Nope, I don't want you to roll. So the guns all aim at you. Even though it's lit, none of the men immediately stand out to you until one looks over at you. Inside here, none of them are wearing rebreathers. All the men, except one, look, I'm going to say English. They are white. They are most certainly not Egyptian nationals.
Okay.
Except for the one who potentially
that
could
might
be.
not be. That might not be a good thing. They still might be bandits.
It's true. And one looks up and says, "Wright, is that you?
Oh.
Go ahead and give me a wits roll."
What? Oh boy. Although they found me, you're gonna fire
You have
me.
you have your credentials too, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'm well known. So, did you say wits?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's a 16.
Very good. So for the rest of you in line behind, when you hear the obvious cocking of weapons, Raya, what would you do?
Pull my exculpuses.
Very good. Roy, what would you do?
I'd have my spike knuckles out.
It's Ray.
Pull out your knuckles.
I've given up at this point.
You've given
Just
up,
call
yeah.
me whatever you don't want.
Yeah, Agnes.
All right. Well,
Okay, except Agnes.
Oh, you're totally Agnes.
Dr. Wolf,
Dr. Wolf doesn't have any weapons at the moment.
would that be your immediate reaction anyway?
Nope. It'd be like, okay, where am I going to pull? Oh, for a moment, and like, hope the drugs are going to keep me calm enough. It's only the cocking of a gun. It's not that stressful yet. And I realize I'm in between everyone. I'm like, oh shit.
Right, and the two
Dr.
behind
Wolf
you,
is a weapon.
two behind you are doing what they would do, and so with a 16, the voice is familiar, and as you start to look at him, you realize it's Eric Ducky, the medical examiner from London,
Oh my god.
the one who's been missing now for months.
Oh.
Okay. Eric? Eric, is that you, my boy?
It is. Dr. Wright, what are you doing here?
Well, Eric, shall I say, what are you doing here? I mean, what a small world. I mean, we're in Egypt. Everybody can everybody calm down?
he says, "Gentlemen, I know this one. You have people with you?"
Yes, I have a few men back here, and of course a woman as well. But I could. They're an excitable
I suggest
bunch.
you come in.
Okay. Yes, everybody, calm down. I know this man.
And what do you do?
And I'll walk in.
Okay, so you come in. So next in line is Raya. Have you told her anything? I didn't hear you tell her to put your weapons away, or did you just say
I said,
calm down?
Calm down. Yeah, well, I
Yep.
hope you can infer from my.
So what does Raya do?
I do not put my weapons away.
Okay.
Doctor's
Do you
turn
step
on
in the
this.
room?
I do step in the
All
room.
right.
I try and look menacing.
Very good. You'll notice that none of the guns on his side have been put down, and they're starting to span out. Next in line, Dr. Wolf.
So Dr. Wolf is dressed in full garb because, well, it's cooler that way, and he comes in and he's got his hands up so as to show that
Perfect.
he's not got like nothing's there. He's not going to do anything.
Ray, what do you do?
I walk through the door. In my right hand, I'm still keeping my spike knuckles out.
Okay, but out just means on. So they're
Yeah.
Are you brandishing them?
No,
in
I'm
front
not.
of your face?
I'm not
You just-
full on fighting stance, but they're definitely my right arm is down.
All right. Full pugilist. All right, very good. And Cal walks in behind.
Oh, I keep forgetting they're here.
Yep. Cal walks in behind, and all of you know Marud should be behind Cal. Marud does not walk in. Do you react?
No, I know.
Do any of you do anything?
Maroon does his own thing. No, I just know he's on our side.
All of a sudden,
Wolf?
the sidewall explodes.
Everyone's dead.
Wolf does like a quick look down down the line to make sure like okay everyone. Or he doesn't say anything, but he notes Maroon's gone and just tries not to indicate too much.
So
Smartest bastard here.
Raya, put the knives down. Come on now. I know this man. I'm sure everything's fine. Isn't that right, Eric?
everything's fine. Yes, madam, please.
I roll my eyes and sheath my exculpuses.
Okay, and then slowly the guns will go down, and Eric leaves the group, who kind of closes in on themselves, and you can hear them talking in very low tones, and he comes over and he says, "Right, what are you doing here?"
Oh, well, we have some business here, just personal stuff.
Why here? Why in this embassy?
Oh, why
Haven't you
here?
heard the stories?
Oh, well, yes, well, to be honest, my boy, it sounded quite interesting, and I figured no one had been in here for some time. I turned on the electricity. I honestly surprised it still works. I said, "Hey, did you help get it back up and running?"
There are things going on you don't know about.
Well, clearly.
No. He says, no, most certainly it was not my doing.
Oh, wait.
It says, may I ask all of you to follow me and forget what you've seen in here?
Oh, already forgotten, my boy.
Is this the full extent of your party?
There's some more out and about in the town, but in here, yes.
Very good. So he says, if you'll follow me. And you guys, if you follow the last couple out, are going to notice that the group there is still watching you. Guns are not pointed any longer, but it's still watching you. And he'll look back. Are we going kind of out the same way we went in?
I mean, if that's where he's leading us, I'm
All
following
right.
him.
So that's going to leave Raya in the end. He'll look back and says, "Madam, would you close the door, please?"
I'll close the door.
All right. So he takes you downstairs into the front hall. As he's bringing you down the stairs, did you guys decide to go in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the two of you are in, and as he's bringing you down the stairs, he'll notice, and he says, "I thought you said that was it."
Oh, Ayden, Frankie, my boy. Yeah, I'll go over. This here's Frankie and Ayden. Yes, they were out and about on the town. They must have come in to try and find us. You know, sometimes people think I'm just some old doddering fool.
Yeah. Little do they know. He stops on the stairway and looks up, and then looks over at the far wall, and then continues down the stairs. When he gets down to the bottom of the stairs, he says, if you'll meet in the middle there, give me just a moment. And he goes over and shuts the lights back off.
I'd like to look up where he looked at the other spots.
Yeah, so what he looked at is the lights.
Okay.
He looked at all the lights, and you can see a confused look on his face. He shuts the lights off. So he comes over, he says, "So the first thing I'm going to ask all of you is to forget what you've seen. Any of it. The embassy is haunted. This is a known fact for anybody here." He now for the first time is kind of looking at everyone, and he looks at you, Ray, and he says, "I know you. You
We
work
know.
He says, "You work the pits, yes?"
A little bit here and there.
Very good. And then you are local. You know the embassy is haunted, yes?
Yes, it is very, very haunted.
We'd like it to remain that way. And he's looking around at the rest of you. Ayden, what is your charm?
I have a charm of 1.
Ouch. He looks at you. Now, again, everybody, nobody's told me that they're not wearing their breathers, right?
Right.
Right.
So he looks at you, and he says, "You have the look of a local. May I ask your name?"
We can leave it at I am a local.
He says, "Then you too understand the embassy is haunted."
Oh yes, very, very haunted. And that degree of haunting could be improved upon if you wish to make a small donation.
He looks.
Very nice.
He looks at you, Dr. Wright, and he says, "I'll assume that you're traveling with jokers. Please, if you would leave the embassy. It is still," and he looks at the two of you, Ray and Ayden, and he says, "The embassy is still English sovereign land. Please hesitate to return."
Oh, well, I don't really plan to return, but Eric, could you do an old man's curiosity a little? Give me a little favor. What are you doing here? This seems kind of an odd place for you to be, and you were missing for some time back home, so I got to say I'm quite curious.
So, as he's talking, I don't know that any of you would see it, but a Marood effectively just kind of appears there.
Oh.
And it's not out of the shadows. I mean, it's somebody, if you guys think about it for a second, you realize you saw him walking up.
Yeah.
But he's very, very quiet. He looks around at all of you and he says, "Well, as you know, there was the issue in the yard. Scotland Yard had been infiltrated.
Oh, well, yes, I remember.
I
hearing
believe it
that.
was you specifically that had warned me to leave.
That does sound like something that I would have said.
You and Alistair.
That does sound like something we would have said. Oh, poor Alistair.
What do
Did
you
you
mean?
Did you hear?
Did-
Oh, you've been gone. No.
No, what?
And I'll take. I don't. Do I have a hat on? I'm gonna say. I'll take my mask off for a second. I'll put it on my heart. Poor Alistair passed some time ago.
What? No. And he looks around, and you can see he's looking amongst you, and he looks at you and he says, "How? Wasn't that your charge?" And he's looking right at Raya.
Yes, he was my charge.
And I'll say, it wasn't anything that, unfortunately, could have been prevented. It was something out of Raya's hand. Raya did a wonderful job at trying to protect him, but it was unfortunate, and also discretion on that as well. No need to send word back. That is his family's concern.
His family's been warned then
Warned? Yes.
that he's passed.
Yes, they have. Yes.
Okay. I know you have ties to the family as well, and I'm sorry for your loss. And he looks right at Raya and then looks back to you. He says, "And your curiosity was?"
What are you doing here, my boy? And again, this place is very haunted, and you know me, a wellspring of steel trap. Nothing leaves here, just an old man's curiosity.
So you can see he breathes for a moment. Any of you who scheme can tell he's working on a story. If you want, you can give me a wits roll if you think your character would want to see if you can tell whether he's basically writing you a false story or not.
May I?
All of you may. Anyone who wishes to, if you think that would be in character.
Oh my god, I rolled double tens.
All right.
Michael is certain.
23.
I only got 14.
17.
15.
I got 14.
Okay. So it would fit in some respects that the two of you, Raya and Wolf, would, because, well, no, actually Wolf wouldn't have had contact with him, but you just have a sense about people. Raya would have known him, would have been aware of him.
I've had
and,
plenty of patients that will give me a sob story. It doesn't matter, I still fail them, but I know how much they're telling the truth.
And
or
Wright
not.
misses, I'm sure, because he's still in somewhat of a shock that this man is here. He says, "There's not much I can tell you. There is a group within the urban defense that has kept this port open. And now you can see that he's woke up to something. And for you, Wolf, specifically, it looks like he's kind of broken whatever line he was going down. You're realizing it's broken. He says, "How did you come here?" He says the train from Alexandria doesn't run for at least another 2 weeks. And he seems to be seriously wondering. He's got a definite expression on his face.
Wait, this is me not remembering. Are
Yeah.
the blimps a secret?
You guys are here specifically on the airship from Grayling.
Yes. But,
They're not. No, they are common.
okay.
But if nobody's been to Egypt, then nobody's been to Egypt.
Yeah. Oh, well, we we decided to pop on over on an airship, my boy.
There's an airship in town?
Oh, not anymore, not anymore. It had to refuel or something, some such.
There is an airship that's landed at some point and is coming back?
Theoretically, I sure hope so. Or well, actually, I guess we would have thought we might be stranded, but I guess not anymore. There's a train, you say?
There is. If you would wait here, excuse me, just a moment. And he definitely seems a little bit flustered. As he turns, you will all see him stop and look at Marud and not say a word, but he's definitely identified Marud in some way, and he runs upstairs, which probably since a squash game 10 years ago, you haven't seen him move like this. And it's pretty spry for a older guy like he is. He heads up. He's gone for a good 15 minutes.
I'm going to lean over to you, Doctor, and say, do not give him any more information about the airship.
Oh, no, I was hoping to get more from him, feed him a little nonsensical information.
Do not
he's
give
on
him
wrong that I was
any
hoping to
more
get shot at.
information
Is that
about
wrong?
the
I feel
airship.
like that's wrong.
Oh, all right, Raya. I'll
He's-
trust you on this one. I don't need to give him no more information.
I don't know what your relationship with him is, but he was going to feed you a line.
He was?
Yes, he was.
Just like those British.
Okay, now, my boy. You've crossed the line. The Queen's line.
So if you guys stay, you're welcome
I
to
don't
talk, but
know.
as soon as you're done, let me know. I'll pass the 15 minutes.
I'll look to you and say, Frankie, my boy, in case 15 men come down out of that hallway with guns, just be on the ready, please.
Let's back up a step. 15 men?
I think we should.
Oh, I thought we
leave.
were supposed to forget about those.
Oh yes, don't think of them, but just know that there may or may not be 15 men up there with guns. I had them all pointed at me, theoretically.
Why are we waiting for this guy?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, no?
I think we
Point
should
at.
leave.
Just point at
We should
right.
probably leave for our safety.
I think we should probably leave for our safety.
Yeah, let's go.
And let's just what was the good man said? Resist the temptation to come back.
Oh, I will resist.
After all, this place is haunted.
So do you guys leave?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's much.
Yes.
Are we leaving?
Wait, I'm
Are we-
trying to see if there's anything
We
on
are
my sheet that would
absolutely
keep me
leaving.
I'm
here.
in favor of. Frankie's in favor of getting out of here. He's tired.
I don't have any kind
My
of
boss is
curious
back,
or
so I'm with
anything.
him.
Yeah. No, I guess, oh, well, I guess he's not going to tell us anything more. Especially if he's spitting lies. Clearly it's something big. May have to come back. No, this place is haunted. Let's go.
Yes, very haunted.
So, that what we're doing?
Yes.
All right. Very good. So you guys, he gets
Just
up
shift
the
the
stairs and disappears. You guys talk for a few minutes and you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, I really personally want to stay, but that's just
Now,
because
now
I'm in
what's
danger.
haunted?
I do want to catch up to Mei Ling. Is that her? Mei Ling?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, is there any reason an airship shouldn't be landing in Egypt?
She kind of looks at you for a moment and says, I don't understand why. It's such a peculiar question.
Are you one of many airships to land here? Or are there not many of you?
She looks at Arthur. She says, no, there wouldn't be many. Most of them are still in Prussian ownership. This is something that Arthur was setting up, but not to my knowledge here. This was for, and she kind of scans the group and says, for your employer. My husband was asked directly by Lord Grayling.
Perhaps we can discuss this while we walk away from the embassy.
I picture us walking and talking.
All right. So are we walking somewhere else, sightseeing farther into town? Are we walking back to Ayden's?
Did we need? I don't think we needed
We would
anything
ask
else.
Ayden, did you have anything else
The
planned?
reason that you two were late, if you remember, was because you were getting the armor.
Yeah.
It's getting close to noon, and usually that is a time to rest, as that's the hottest part of the day.
Alright, sounds like we're going back to the...
So you guys head back to the house?
That's it.
All right.
Ayden, is there anyone at the docks that we could potentially bribe not to give that gentleman information about the airship?
Well, that would be the just to let you know, that would be the airfield.
Or airfield, yeah.
Anyone can be bought for a price. Would you like me to take
This
care of
is
that for you?
Egypt.
That might be something to think about, because I have a feeling that he and his compatriots are going to be very interested in the airship and when it will be returning.
So
It
out of
might
game real
be-
quick, something I will let you know. Ray is going to know this, and Ayden's going to know this. It was not something I was continuing research before I was able to come up with it. There is a working train that runs between Cairo and Alexandria, and it runs roughly every 3 weeks. So what he told you that you guys heard, with it being over 2 weeks, you don't necessarily know the schedule, but you understand that. So, and it runs between those areas because Alexandria brings different foodstuffs up to Cairo in exchange for what Cairo produces.
It might be prudent to get in contact with them and persuade them not to give them any information about when the airship will be coming back.
All right.
So-
there will be no one there for the next hour or so, but after
Okay.
me and Ray can head down there and see what we can do.
So
thank
we
you.
head back to the house.
Yeah.
And we're not walking quickly, we're just walking.
Oh, I don't want to break.
We're
too much
not
of a
running or anything like
No.
that. We're not looking
I
suspicious.
hope you guys know how hard it was for me not to want to stay there. It
So
would've been worth
I'll
dying.
remind you
Yeah.
that you do like Ducky. You do get along with him.
Oh yeah, I know. I just also don't.
He's
wanna...
not your nemesis, Doctor.
Yes. Part of me almost wishes it had been.
I mean,
Actually, that would have ended in a gunfight.
Well, it was. I'll remind you from last game, which for our audience is over 2 years ago. For the last game, that's the one when Alistair was looking into the corruption inside Scotland Yard. That was the guy that you guys had understood was potentially going to be killed, and you had him leave. So there's a closeness.
Yeah.
I was not going to interrupt you guys' thought process, but walking away is fine. But you don't necessarily believe he was there to harm you.
No, I get that.
But you don't know anyone else he's with.
That's the thing. I don't know anybody else he's with. I don't know what. Clearly, it's something government, or if not government, something adjacent.
Again, I'll remind you that the people you saw, 14 of them were probably or almost assuredly English.
Yeah, and I mean, like, while I have credentials, and in London I could probably go anywhere I want. Here, I don't know. I don't know what authority I can throw around.
I'm going to give you one more thing that I probably should have had you roll in there. Give me a wits roll.
Oh.
It is going to be extremely hard.
To me, he just seemed way too excited that we had an airship.
I understand. I'm not biting you at all.
Is 21 good?
21 is good.
I might be going back, guys.
This is not something that you're going to immediately blurt out. So for you believe one of them, now that you're walking away and kind of replaying it because you're kind of thinking, what cues didn't I get? What did I miss? Because they're very intent on leaving. One of the people there you think may have been part of the group from the Explorer Society.
Oh.
One of them may have been one of the vampires.
Oh.
One of the ones you know.
Oh.
May. You think. You're just kind of running it through your head. Really running it through, and you're reasonably certain. Odd that he would have drawn a gun.
And odd that he's in a place with so much light.
So much sunlight. This is true, too.
If anybody ever looks back at the Doctor at that moment, I'd probably go, well, actually, you wouldn't see under my mask. I probably went a little white.
Yeah, okay.
Did somehow my mask's mouth droops a little bit. But yeah, so no, that's what I do. I stop walking for just a moment.
Well, I'm definitely ushering him.
Yeah,
So.
I stop. I put my hand on Frankie's shoulder. Very interesting, my boy. And then I keep walking forward.
So the walk is reasonably uneventful, unless Ayden specifically wants to. There's no reason you have to go back through the marketplace. As you guys come back, all of you at some point or another are gonna notice that Marud and Cal will are talking quietly to each other. If anyone approaches them, they'll very politely stop. They'll engage you. As soon as you're there, it looks to be very practice. They are not fishy in any way. They're openly talking with you. They're openly interacting with you. But if they're left to their own devices, they are definitely talking together. You can catch them out, and they're not being hidden about it. Again, if somebody approaches, they'll stop. But if somebody's kind of walking or even does something silly like turn around and watch them, they don't stop. So, at Ayden's place, interior is very, very warm. There's really no way to escape the heat inside. Although the nice thing is once you're inside, you can take the canvas mask off. Are we passing time? I know you're not doing the evening thing anymore. I know that you have... Ayden's not doing the evening thing with Emir. You, Dr. Wright, do have a meeting, and I don't know if you're bringing anyone with you.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask... Actually, yeah, because I would go to Ayden because I need a translator.
Okay.
Ayden.
And one more thing I'll say before you continue. Ayden, are you following up in any way on what Raya asked you?
I will be doing that.
So, all right. So let's start with what Dr. Wright was going to say.
Ayden, do you have a moment?
I do.
Over at the shop, I forget his name, but he had a nephew who was injured, and we worked out a deal. He gave me my mask and some supplies. I want to go look at the boy, see if I can... His arm, if it goes any worse, he's going to die. So I wanted to see if I can help him, but I don't speak the local dialect. Do you think, if you don't want to accompany, might I borrow Ray for an evening, just as a translator, be able to help me through this?
Are we almost going to get shot again?
We shouldn't.
Generally, if you're with a
Sure, I can do
doctor.
it.
No.
I'll send Ray with you.
Excellent, I really appreciate it. And then I'll say, Ray, I'll come meet you at, whatever time. I don't know what time it is. 5.
Ray,
5
are you
o'clock.
going home or are you staying here?
I have a place, a room, whatever, at...
Okay. If you could send word to Ray, just...
Was that I thought for the time they were here, you have a permanent room at Ayden's place.
It's not permanent, but...
A current room. Yes. Okay. All right. That's I was just asking if you were going home.
Which he's regretting because of all the night terrors that people have.
I didn't sleep.
So I'll ask if you could send word to him if he's not present, just to see if he could come meet me at 5, whatever time it gets dark here. I don't actually know, but and then I'll go to Frankie. Oh, Frankie, would you like to come out tonight? I have a little medical job to do. Ray is going to be there, and well, I always feel safer when you're present in case the rough and tumble happens. You're good to scrap, my boy.
I don't think I'm doing anything. That's fine.
Excellent. I'll meet you at about 5 o'clock. We'll head on out. Thank you, Frankie.
So then, Ayden, what are you doing?
Well, I'm going to find Ray. Ray, the doctor's going to see the boy about a prosthetic fitting. Could you go along as a translator?
Mm-hmm. I can certainly do that.
And then if I'm not back this evening, you might want to bring everyone to the airfield. I'm just going to go talk to him, but you never know.
You do know how to use that Kofesh of yours, right?
Yes.
Good.
And are you heading there now?
Yeah.
Are you getting a vehicle, or
No,
are
I'm just
you're walking?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay, so unless anyone else has anything specific, Ayden, you arrive at the airfield. It's a good walk. It's a well over an hour's walk for you. In the heat, you know at least how to hide in the shadows of the city's buildings, but it's still warm. At the airfield, no one approaches. You've been there before.
So, do I know who runs the airfield, or possibly?
So there are effectively, God, I don't want to say gangs because that's not realistic. There are two groups. There's a group at the airfield that keeps the airfield cleared. There's another group at the airfield that will move boxes, etc. The airfield does not have a lot of landings at it.
Okay.
Really, more than anything else, it's a shipping holding space. It's where people will warehouse stuff. So you have those two crews. You have the one that keeps up the place and the one that works the shipping rooms. As far as the ones that took care of the ship as it came down, that's the grounds crew.
All right, so I'm going to go talk to their leader and say, has anyone come asking about the blimp? Okay.
So you're speaking in Egyptian,
Right.
But he will speak to you. I'll give it to you in English. He says, "No, my friend, not yet. Not beyond the ones that saw it land. Many asked for that, and most of them stayed. We had a huge audience that stayed before it headed out to the east."
I was hoping I could ask a favor with the hopes I could repay you back at some point. I believe that there are British here.
Well, yes, they landed.
No, other British. They are, I believe they are possibly wanted in their country, or they're at least undesirables that have set up here.
And you have of course informed the ENF and the Caliph.
I am on my way to do that, but I wish to come to you first. I was hoping that you could ask your men to not talk to them.
But this if they don't speak our language, of course. It's
Yeah,
very
and
easy.
I hope they don't, but you can never be too cautious. Perhaps give them a, warning about letting their tongues wag and such.
And you see he works the scraggle of beard on his face, and he says, "Well, that kind of mourning normally takes time out of a busy earning day."
All right, and I'll put £1 down. Will that compensate?
Well, that of course compensates my time, but the men.
I'll put another
The
one
second
down.
one down, he says, "Well, yes, I believe I have found the time." And he'll the £2 leave, and he says, "Will there be anything else?"
If you do have someone approach you, please send word to me.
I can do that. We can get a messenger. Normal rates apply, of course. No, sir. No,
Okay.
no. Only if he arrives.
All right.
And then you head off.
Yeah.
All right. So as you're leaving, he says, "You," and he kind of looks around. There's nobody on the airfield, but he still has that kind of odd conspiratorial look. He looks around and he says, "I'm hoping I have the right person, but was it you, my friend, that was looking to hear if anything was to come in out of the desert? Something of, shall we say, a collectible quality?"
I'm always interested in such things.
He says, I'm the heat often gets in the way of good thinking, but a few items came into one of the warehouses. Now that is not my area of expertise. You would have to speak to the watch commander there, but I believe it was, and his hand comes out. He says, "The number." It was
put a
it
pound
3?
there.
The pound disappears. He says, "No, it was not 3. It was 16. It is Bay 16. There were a number of items that came in there that my crew watched go in and swept up to afterwards."
Very good. Thank you. If I need anything more, I'll be sure to seek you out.
Of course. Good day to you. And he rolls his hand in front of his head and bows to you.
I am going to head over to the shipping gentleman.
All right. So the area of warehouse buildings that's up here has a number of vehicles set in front of it. There are men just sitting on the vehicles or laying near the vehicles. All of them Egyptian nationals. You don't see anyone that wouldn't fit the standard bill. They are all wearing canvas masks, although none of them ornate like you guys have. They're all wearing the standard canvas masks. You came at your time that you would normally stay out of the sun. For them, you're guessing it's lunch and that type. Men sitting and laying everywhere.
All right. I'm going to look to see if I can find the boss.
Well, give me a wits roll. There's nobody wearing a different colored shirt or, commander epaulets or anything like that.
Who has the highest or the most hit points above me?
That's
what I look for. That's the biggest
So
green
15.
bar.
Is there a health bar? Then they're clearly an enemy.
That's it right there.
So
Skull.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to look like. Well, I would say my idea would be look for the guy who looks like he's hardly done any labor.
right. So there are
That's
two
an eye opener.
rotund gentlemen
Scared me.
up against one of the vehicles. They're talking and sipping little cups of drink. You're guessing some form of a coffee or tea. Around them, there are a number of men playing bones. So you're guessing one of the two of them.
All right. So I will go up to the gentleman and, excuse me, sir, are you the storage boss?
Ah, Mr. Carter, I believe it is. Yes.
Yes.
Ah, what brings you here? We haven't received anything for you in weeks.
Ah, see, but I was informed that you did in crate 16,
Bay 16.
Bay 16.
Bay 16.
Yes.
But that he claps his hands, and one of the guys who's rolling the bones doesn't react at all, other than to get up immediately. The dice clatter, and he walks away and comes back with a book, lays it down in front of him. He says, and he starts flipping through pages, flipping. He says, Bay 16 is not yours.
Are you certain? And I
How much do you put down now? When you have deliveries here,
Oh, boy.
it is between 2 and 4 pounds for the delivery, for receipt and passage to you.
right.
So,
What
what do you put down?
I'll put down 5 pounds.
He says, thank you, I'll use this. And he takes the note and runs it under. It says, well, it appears that 16 was yours, yes. I believe there is a conflict here. Maybe you should accompany me over there, and we'll see if we can resolve it. It looks like 2 of you are in the same bay at this time. Please, come with me. And so he gets up, kind of stretches a little bit, drinks the last bit of the tea or coffee that he had, and walks you over to Bay 16. Nobody else is coming with you. You get past the trucks, and you start going over to where the bays are, and there's nobody around. And so as you're coming closer, he said, I warn you, what you are about to see hasn't been seen for thousands of years.
Ooh.
I am concerned. But he brings you to the door, pulls out a ring of keys, unlocks it. Now these bays are 15 feet in width with a single door at the front. They're built mostly of some kind of brick. The upper half is then metal stretched across the top. Most of them are at least 100 foot in depth. Most of them that you've been in have almost nothing in them.
Right.
So he opens it up. You'll notice that there are 2 locks. You're used to them only having 1 lock. Before he enters, he looks around. There's nobody near you, and he steps in. When he opens the door, which opens in, heat just billows out from you. It is stifling inside, and he leaves the door open for a few moments. Give me a wits roll as you're standing there, because he doesn't go in. I don't know if you push past him, but he opens the door and steps
I
back. You
imagine
can
I'm
feel the
waiting,
heat
yeah.
coming out.
So that would be
Nice.
17.
17. So immediately you're starting to connect what you're seeing. There are a number of statues. You're guessing out of 14th or 15th dynasty. Not a lot has been found from that time period, so this would be a new and exciting discovery. After about 3 minutes, he walks in. He says, "If you'll follow me," and so you head in. You guys, as you're walking through the front, roughly the front half of the building has nothing in it. There's the dust. There's a few leftover broken pieces of crate. There are tarps and that type of thing. But as you start walking back to it, there are 3 statues. You're guessing that each of the statues is a single stone carving. They stand somewhere around 10 feet in height. You're not completely certain how they've got them in here, but it's not abnormal to see something this large brought in. There are 3 of them. All 3 of them are Anubis-headed, sitting statues.
I'll see if there's any documentation around where they were found or anything, or if are they just standing there, nothing.
They're standing there. He's walking over with you. You can see that he seems to be nervous. Like he's not, everywhere else we've walked so far, he walks like he owns the place. Walking towards these things, he walks like he's a child, a timid child.
Friend, what is bothering you?
Well, you know the god Anubis. You know what he stands for, and you know what's happened to the country. He says, I worry.
So, I want to walk around him. I'm going to see if anything grabs my eye.
Do you touch anything? Is my first question.
Cursed.
Everything.
I probably would, because I'd be examining things.
Okay,
I would have my tools, so I'd be kind of dusting things. Or
Okay. What my question is do you touch it with ungloved hands? And I'm going to give you a little more description so you can tell me if you touch it where that would be. There is a base stone that has carvings to make it look like it's a jutting out brick. The feet sit at the edge and stick out a slight bit. A number of the toes on them have been broken off or have been brushed away. Potentially in moving, one of them for certain was broken in moving. You can see that it's a new crack. The other ones maybe could have been cracked in the last 100 or 200 years. The majority of them looks like just time has worn them. There is a single, boy, my brain is not working tonight. There is a single throne that each of the statues is sitting on. You have the ability at your height to reach and get to basically the knee, so the sitting position on the chair, so the armrests, you can touch that. So if you touch it, what and where do you touch? And do you touch with ungloved hands?
So I would not touch it with ungloved hands because the oils on my skin could damage it. What I'm going to do is see if I can find who made it or a creation, and see if there's any, because my understanding is a lot of those statues usually had a dedication or purpose on it. I'm going to see if I can find anything like that.
Very good. All right. So, no, you don't find anything. Again, there's not going to be a bronze plaque or anything like that. But even just the standard carvings, there is only writing on each of the armrests, and it's exactly what you'd expect. It's basically a line from the Book of the Dead, welcoming you or bringing you into the land of the dead. All 3 statues appear the same. All 3 statues have the same overall stonework. Again, different cuts and breaks on them, different chips. Nothing beyond that. As you're walking around them, you may be running your fingers across, brushing away a little dust and sand. You'll notice that he has stepped back. He is maybe 20 feet now from the front of the statue. He is watching you.
So while I'm examining them, I'm going to say, has anything weird happened around these statues? You seem very, you do not seem like a man who would be scared easily.
Well, no, and he's speaking loudly from where he's at so you can hear him, and there's a bit of an echo in here. He says, no, it's just good, safe thinking. Bad omen. I believe these should not have been moved. He says, and you can see that he's stumbling. You've gotten him to let you do something that he shouldn't have.
Right.
All right? That part of it kind of goes without saying. You've gotten in other times to look at stuff that's definitely in normal intrinsic value worth a lot more. You've gotten to see scepters and gems and gold and that type of thing. But him or the other person you've dealt with here, neither of them have ever been this fishy with it. And you don't think it's because you didn't pay him enough. So, but he kind of works with his mind and thinks for a little bit, and he says, well, I guess you should know, the team that excavated this, there's a 4th one. They were not able to remove it. The number of men who tried, which I was led to believe was 4 and 20, none of them survived a day past leaving. The group that brought these in here, 2 of them have already died. We've been told of scarring on the lungs, inability to breathe, would suggest that they are not wearing any kind of a mask protector. But yeah, as far as I understand, they all do. They all did the entire time. There are 2 of them suffering from snake bites, or at least the standard fevers and tear in the skin, but there were no snakes. And this is the story. Now, I grant you, some of these people may have been telling tales to keep us away from them. I just don't feel comfortable around them. You don't have any weird precog, any of that kind of thing in your background. Okay, if you will give me a will roll when he says that.
Don't mess with the guardian of the dead.
13. More
13. So
specifically.
yeah, you're not feeling anything.
All my character does.
In the past, you felt that around certain objects. This one doesn't give you anything. Not that there's nothing to it. It is a beautiful piece of statuary, beautiful carving. They are in very good shape, but again, he's acting weird with it.
All right.
You've taken the time. You've walked all 3 statues.
So
It's
I'm
because he knows he's accepted a bribe. He's not going to peg it past the 42 reverse confessions.
I will. So I'm curious. Do I know anybody who I could probably move these really quick?
As in, sell them.
Yeah.
These would be very hard to do that with. They are just too large.
Okay. Even say maybe for the Caliph.
No, if he wanted them, he would. All right. So something that you know.
Right.
He knows everything that comes in. At least that's what you've been led to believe. There have been a number of items that you have brought in that have not made it to you, that were lost in transport. And over the time that you've been working this, you've begun to understand that.
Okay. So
You're actually, now that you think about that, give me an intellect roll. Or, wait a minute, hold on. I totally forgot we have skills to work with. Give me an intellect roll.
not history, maybe.
No, not for this.
Okay. So just to be, then I can use my Wisdom of the Ages, which lets me add my history rating to an intellectual knowledge test.
Yes, that is exactly what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Oof, I'm gonna spend my.
Yeah, go for it.
Spend 1 from the pool.
Yep.
Very good.
How's our pool looking, by the way?
3.
Oh. So 18
Oh, nice.
plus 5 is 23.
23. All right. So now that you think about it, and you were thinking, how can I move it? And then you start realizing, whoa, how could anyone move it? You're actually curious why they're here. Things this large are generally left alone. You remember about 25 years ago, you've been here your whole life. 25 years ago, there was an obelisk somewhere in that time that was brought over here. It was brought successfully. It was a 12-foot obelisk. It sat in town, well, it sat in one of the warehouses here, but it was in town for almost a year, at which point it was taken out. And as far as you know, returned to its original spot. Something that large, very, very few things you can sell it to. Very hard to move something like that. So these are very peculiar that they've been brought here.
So who owns this storage area?
He says, I'm sorry, my friend. And he puts his hands up in front of you, so there would be no way for you to put coin in his hand. He says, I'm sorry, my friend. That is something I can't pass. The owners of the building have been very specific in asking no information be given.
All right.
I apologize. And we're at anything, and you can see as he's speaking, he's nervous.
Right.
He says, if it were anyone else.
My friend, I would not want you to jeopardize your position. Let us say if I would be was interested in finding out. Would these people be foreigners?
They would. He still has his hands up.
British, perhaps?
He thinks for a moment. He says, no, I'm quite certain they are not British.
Perhaps someone from the Mediterranean?
He says, they are somewhere in a cross. They are not as dark skinned as the Spanish that show here or the Italians.
Some more
Certainly,
central or...
certainly not as clear as the British.
Interesting. All right. Well, I thank you for letting me see these. Should anything, if one were to say perhaps, let me know when they were being moved out, I could perhaps make it a valuable...
So for the first time, he takes his hands, that would not allow for a bribe, down. He does not put them out. He puts them at his side, and he says, I believe that could happen.
All right, and, I'll put like a couple of pounds on one of the crates and stuff.
On a crate, not by the statue.
No, not by the statue.
All right, so he'll gladly go pick it up there. I was waiting to see you put it on the statue to see if he's going to go pick it up. So he'll gladly pick those up, and he says, "Yes, I'm certain." And you are still at your same curator shop. Yes, very good.
Thank you, friend.
Absolutely, please. And he puts his hand out to have you head out in front of him.
All right. As I'm walking out, I'll say, is there anything that you have perhaps found or stuff that needs to be relocated or rehomed?
He says, there's been nothing. The two most successful digs, as far as I understand, and granted I don't go out, my brother does, but the two most successful digs have been completely closed down. At the Caliph's orders, I'm uncertain as to why. It's been 2 weeks since anything has come back besides these three, and as you're heading out, he locks the first lock and checks it, locks the second lock, and again checks it again. Reminder, you've only ever seen one lock.
Right. Oh, that is most unfortunate. Well, let me, just so you know, since you are rather new to this job, that anything you're able to help me acquire, I will give you a 15% finder's fee.
He says, that is very generous indeed. I will keep it in mind. My predecessor had mentioned you, and I, of course, have seen you here a few times. This is an easy thing to work out.
And I'll thank him, and I'll head back towards the crew.
You'll head back home?
I'm going to head back home, but I'm going to go to the crew, see if they're still having lunch.
Very good. Well, so they're at your house.
No, not this crew.
His crew.
Yeah, his
Very
crew.
good. So his crew are still there. Based on you looking at the sun, you've gotten pretty good at this over time. You're guessing they're at least another hour and a half before they're going to be up and doing anything.
So I'm going to ask them if they...
You're just going to stand amongst the group and...
Well, I figure I'm going to get down there and talk to them and stuff.
For the rest of you, especially the ones that are over here from London, you guys are, it's uncomfortable. You guys are probably laid out, in most cases, down to the least amount of clothing that you're comfortable in. Ray will probably teach you this trick, but you'll get cloths that you dunk in water, strain out, and then place on your body in different spots to allow for some heat and perspiration to happen. It's exhausting, and it takes everything out of you.
I think that the hotter Frankie gets, the more angry he's getting.
Okay.
He has not moved beyond this morning. And I think that he would actually seek out Raya and ask if she wanted to spar, because he's reaching a boiling point.
You guys could do that. There is a central courtyard that you guys could do that in. Do you take Frankie up on that?
I would.
You guys have sparred in the past, so this isn't weird.
I would take Frankie up on that. Raya is actually very upset that Alistair was brought up.
Okay. So,
There we go.
Ray, you're going to hear them.
Work out some anger
Do you go
and
watch?
frustration.
Yeah.
The only reason I mention is because you know it's fighting, but you're pretty sure it sounds like controlled fighting.
I'd watch. I mean, the courtyard of the house, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on that, yeah.
Okay. So it's interesting. They are both as skilled as you are in their specific fighting styles. They don't fight the same. But they are both as skilled as you are in their fighting styles.
So, I'm going to go sit down with them. Are they having their drinky tea, right?
Yeah, they're drinking coffee now that you get the chance to actually see it,
Okay.
or what they call coffee.
So I'm going to pull out my flask and I'm going to pour a little.
Around?
Yeah. And I'm just
What's coming out of there? What do you have? Gin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figure the Egyptian equivalent type of thing.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask them if they've heard any rumors about the statues.
So you bring that up, and they're looking around at each other, kind of have a strange look to them. The foreman who was with you comes over and puts his hand gently. There's no malice, and he says, "My friend, we should let them. They get very, very short time for lunch. Please, let's give them their free time."
All right. And I'll get up and I'll thank him again.
Okay.
And
He
then I'll,
thanks you too, very, very nicely.
and I'll head back to.
Okay. So on the way back, you're again dodging the sun, and you because you travel here, you know which streets to take to be out of it, which streets to take to be in it. As you're heading back, you will hear a car. That's not abnormal, but then you hear a second car. You can hear two distinct different engines coming from two different ways. And as you come out of one of the alleyways into the next street to cross over, a vehicle on each side pulls up. Give me an it roll.
Did we see this in Godfather? I feel like we saw this in Godfather.
Don't put that on him.
Shoot.
Take the cannoli.
It's a hot day. 8.
So with an 8, you're kind of caught by surprise. Men get out, run up on you. One puts you see it coming. One puts a bag over your head. Do you resist?
I'm kind of interested where this is going, so I will.
You don't resist.
That's a good way of saying I failed, but let's make the best of this.
Very good. So it's placed over your head. You're picked up and trussed up. Although you're not resisting, you're still being moved fairly uncomfortably. You're tossed in the back. Go ahead and do you have acrobatics?
I do.
Give me an acrobatics roll.
Let's roll these two since those were.
I've been having fun with you, yes.
Yeah. So 8, 9, 10, 15.
With a 15, you are able to roll to where you're uninjured, and you can hear the one of them says, "And go," and we'll leave it there.
All right.
What?
All right, very good. So
Playing
for
with
everyone
the big
tonight,
boys now.
for everyone tonight, take 1 XP. Matt, please take 2. And we're going to put one more dip into the character pool, raising it back to 4. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week. Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.